Hello, everyone. Greetings from InUni UK. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today. My name is Dagina Weatherall, and I'm the Director of Recruitment within InUni UK Division, a company of global university systems overseeing international students recruitment for a number of our partner universities. Today, I'm extremely excited to talk about our premium partner university, beautiful Canterbury Christ Church University. And you can see Canterbury Cathedral in my background, maybe better this way. That's where the university graduations take place. I'm really excited to talk about CCBS Business School today, where we have a lot of interest from potential students. And we already have students successfully studying, and even those who graduated and secured jobs as well from CCBS Business School. So I'm excited to be joined by academic team from CCBS Business School. So we have Julian Glover here and Amee Kim. Hi, Julian and Amee. Thank you so much for joining. And we have Richard Venner, who is International Business Development Manager at CCBS. We also have Sukanya from InUni Marketing team helping us to run this webinar smoothly. I guess before we start, just a few housekeeping rules. You're all on mute. If you'd like to ask any questions, feel free to do so. Just pop them into the Q&A section. So that's Q&A section rather than chat section. And we will take them from there at the very end of the webinar. So I really hope you can stay with us till the very end of this webinar. Other than that, sit back and enjoy. And I really hope you find this webinar very, very useful and inspiring as well. The webinar is being recorded and the recording will be shared with you later on in case if you miss anything. Thank you. And it's over to you, Julian.
Okay, thank you very much. I was going to share my screen with everybody. Hopefully you can all see that.
It's coming up.
Have you got it now? Business school degrees?
It's still coming up for me. I'm not sure if it's the same for you, Sukanya.
It says your screen is shared, but nothing is coming up.
Yeah, it's just dark for now.
It was working a second ago.
Maybe try again, please, if that's okay.
Stop share. Let me stop sharing and try again. Share screen.
Yes, now we can see it. Thank you.
Okay, no problem at all. Okay, so thank you very much. Let me just go to the right screen. So I'm Julian Glover. I am the course director in business and logistics at Canterbury Christ Church University in the business school. I teach a range of subjects, but principally project management and logistics. And this is really where you guys are aiming to get to. These are many of our students who have graduated, and this shows them on placement, on field trips, and also at graduation award ceremonies. This is a great snapshot of where our students are. So why come to university? Why do you want to do it? It's really about education. It's not training. It's just not learning by rote. It's about educating you, helping you develop your own skills rather than just using somebody else's. It's about becoming independent, an independent learner, not just rote learning. And it's about leading. Employers want people who can lead, who can make decisions for themselves and not just depend on other people. And then, but most of all, it's about thinking. And I talked to some of my ex-students and they will all say that the importance that they get from university is the fact that when they're working in graduate roles in important jobs, it's about thinking about they're expected to think for themselves. And they've said that is so important, and university will give that. So why Canterbury Christ Church University? It's a good small university, very strong pastoral tradition. We look after our students very well, excellent personal and academic support. But we have a great range of variety of students of all abilities, from all nationalities, from different parts of the world, representing different views at different ages. It's a great place to be for that. It's a very lovely campus. As Gina has said, it's in Canterbury. It's very easy to access. Everything is in walking distance. It's not one of those big universities where you'll get lost. You are not a number here. You are a person. And Canterbury is one of the loveliest and safest cities in Britain. So why the business school? It's because we have a great range of teaching staff with a diverse range of business and academic backgrounds. We have academics, people who study, that's their principal interest in life is study and research. But we also have a great many people who have worked in industry, worked in business. I worked in industry for a long time before I started teaching, and means that we can bring our own experience to the classroom, but also we can bring the experience of other people who we know through our connections. And because of that, we have very good links with businesses. So in fact, tomorrow afternoon, I've got next student coming in who's been working in the industry for about 5 or 6 years. So she is going to come in and talk to the students about her experience, and the students we know really like that. But we've also got some great people behind the scenes with excellent admin and program support. So the skills that we offer parallel and work with what businesses want. We talk to businesses and they tell us what they want from graduates. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world, it doesn't matter what industry or sector you're in, they want these skills. It's the ability to work independently and to work as part of a team, to do things on your own, but also work with other people. The ability to communicate with people of all types, customers, suppliers, the general public, colleagues, whatever. It's about learning quickly and asking questions, the ability to assimilate information quickly, but also that awareness of the wider world and the business environment. It's about being resilient and able to make sense of ambiguity. It's about being able to take on challenges and respond to the task, respond to problems, but also taking ownership and responsibility, putting your hand up, saying, I will do that, I will take control for that. And it's about thinking creatively, coming up with ideas, thinking about solutions to problems. So how does it work? Our students work really hard. They're very keen. Well, some of them do anyway, but we like to think she's in the library at least. So what do we do as a university? We do face-to-face teaching. We stand in front of you and teach and help you learn. But we also give you contact through tutorials and supervisions. But we have also excellent facilities and resources, a wonderful library, a great safe, comfortable, safe study areas, IT systems that are up to date. But we also think about students on the social side with clubs and societies and other social facilities. So it's not all just about learning, it's about helping you develop as people. And what do you guys need to do? Well, you need to attend and engage sessions, actually take part and join in, because that's where you do your best learning. Do the assessments as best you can. We're not expecting every student to get a first in every piece of work that they do, but also work on your own, do the reading, do the research, but watch and listen and ask other people. And work as a team inside and outside university, have those skills and learn those skills and develop them of discussing and arguing and negotiating. But also don't be afraid to ask for help in any situation when you need it. Don't be shy. Don't sit there, not sure about what to do. Always ask. And that really is an important feature for working in business. But also be curious, ask why. Why is this happening? Why is this business doing this? And think about the world around you. Question it. Just don't take things at face value anymore. But most of all, it is, as I say, think. That's what employers want, people who can think for themselves. So how does it work? All businesses have 4 aspects to them. And it doesn't matter what business you're in. You can be running your own business. You could work for Google. You could work for Coca-Cola. You could work for Emirates Airlines. You could work for the health service. You could work in government. But these 4 elements are crucial to any business and organization. And if you take any one of those away, the business will fail. It's a bit like a 4-legged chair. If you cut one of the legs off, at some point it will fall over and be useless. And so you have to have customers, you have to have people in your business. Even if you're self-employed, you are still a person and you have to take care of yourself. There's operations, what you actually do as a business. And then last but not least, of course, there's the money side of it. And so what we do is we match those area of business to our courses with courses in marketing and advertising, in HR, in accounting and finance, in operations, whether it be tourism, events, logistics, retail management, whatever. So we help you in those 4 areas. But the critical thing is that in any organization, irrespective of how big it is and where it is that those 4 areas overlap. They do not exist completely on their own. So if you're working in marketing, you will be working with HR, with operations and accounting and finance. And for those of us who are teaching business management, this means that you guys will be sitting in the middle and have to understand and work with all these different aspects of business management and what the business is. And as you become more established in that business, even if your major area is something like, for example, HR, as I've shown here, or marketing, as you become more senior in that business, so your interaction with these different areas of business will become greater and greater. And because of that, we make sure that we teach you all those areas of business. You're not just specializing in one single area. But we also teach about the micro environment, how businesses work, how they're set up, how people work together. We talk about strategy, about leadership, about group skills, all these sorts of things. We also talk about the macro environment, what is happening in the world out there, understanding that business doesn't just exist within the 4 walls of that organization. You are working in local, regional, national, and international and global environments. And although what somebody does in the US or in China may at the time seem irrelevant, but it can have a significant impact on your business. And we help you develop your awareness of that. We also teach you academic skills. We teach you how to write essays. We teach you how to research, how to do bibliographies, to understand how academia works. But we also teach you the business skills, those soft skills, the group presentations, interaction, communication, learning to work with other people, really important skills that you will need in your future careers. How's it work for 2025 entry only? That's why there's a question mark there. So we have 2 semesters in your first year. You do 3 modules in each semester, 20 credits each, and they are set for you. You don't have any choice. In year 2, same again, 2 semesters of 3 modules each. Each of those modules are 20 credits each, but this time you have to do some core modules such as management leadership or project management, but then you can choose optional modules that help you tailor your course to what you want to do. And then finally in year 3, again, same thing again, 2 semesters, 3 modules on each. But in this case, you have that mixture of core and optional modules. But in this case, we also include the possibility of you doing a 40 credit dissertation or business project. A dissertation is an academic piece of work, a research piece of work. A business project allows you to work with a business organization on an issue, a problem idea that they have. And you have the ability of working it over the whole year, so you can really get your teeth into it. How do we do it? We have lectures, seminars, tutorials, and library. Lectures are 2 hours, usually all students on the module in one lecture. So you can be in a big lecture theatre with, say, 80, 100 students. They're very much chalk and talk, somebody standing up and talking to you, and you make notes. Some of them will be interactive, depending on the group size, but generally they're fairly chalk and talk, as we say. Seminars are much smaller groups. In smaller rooms, there can be IT rooms where you have access to computers. Others, you won't need access to computers, as much more about discussion and focus. Typically, group sizes between 15, 20, 25 students. But the advantage is you work together, you'd be working smaller groups within that larger group and doing exercises and examples and talking, discussing, far more engaged and interactive than lecture. But you can also have one-to-one tutorials, both academic and personal, for example, for supervisions for your dissertation. But also, if you've got any problems or issues, just come and see your academic tutor and they will help you out. But also, we have a fantastic library. It has full access both on site and online, and our students use the library an awful lot. So at the moment, for undergraduate degrees, semester 1 is September to December, with your assessments in January. Semester 2, which we're just coming to the end, runs from February to April, with the assessments in May, and then the year results and the final year degree results, and for year 3 are issued in July. So what do you study in year 1? As I say, we give you a general background into business, the fundamental areas, academic and professional skills, learning how to acquire those skills, getting those skills to help you in business and be in the academic environment. We talk to you about people and HR, working with people. the fundamentals of accounting and finance, economics, marketing, and business analysis, so that you can be confident when you go into the business environment that you have that routine, that fundamental understanding, which means that you can engage with that in that business far more easily. In year 2, you're starting to look at more the key areas of business, including management, leadership, working in business, project management, but as well as more specialist general areas such as digital business, sustainability, law, for example, and then more specialist areas such as accounting, marketing, HR, and logistics, where you can sort of put more of your focus. Year 3 tends to be more strategic. So you'll be looking at strategic management overall, the way that business develop. But you'll also be looking at financial management, how they run. But there'll also be general business areas such as ethics, PR, that you'll cover in the same way, but also some specialist program areas in international business and logistics, whatever. But again, as I mentioned before, the independent studies of the project and dissertation. Yes, you do have to do assessments. We do expect you to do some work, but help is at hand. It's not all panic. You don't need to jump off the cliff just yet. So assessments typically include individual and group work that you do on your own, but also you'll be expected to work with other people, just as you will do in the business world. Exams typically are taken on campus. They can be multiple choice tests, short answer questions, short essays, for example. There's also coursework submitted online, so it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can still submit your work. And this consists typically essays, reports, projects, and case studies. You'll also be expected to do presentations, stand up in front of a group of people and present your work. It could be a poster, it could be a slideshow, but you have to get used to that, doing that, of standing in front of people, because that's something that you will be doing in business. And then finally, simulations and practical exercises, things that give you hand-on experience of business and operations. Help and support, there's plenty of help and support around. Tutorials, as I say, as required. You can just come and knock on your module leader's door, your personal academic tutor's door. You can ask them for a meeting through email, and some of my colleagues have diary booking systems. But also, we're just around on campus, and I bump into students in the coffee queue, just in the library, whatever, and they'll just come up with a question. In each semester, we have an academic development week that allows you to develop your own academic skills. But also, as a university, we have student support, health and well-being, independent of the academic world, where those people there will help you with any issues, problems, or questions that you have. Anybody who has a disability, for example, dyslexia, or any other issues they need help with, there's disability and occupational health. And international students have their own support network in an international office. In terms of work, we take our students out on field trip. Here's a group of students visiting a logistics depot, so they get to see and hear from people firsthand from industry. This is how it works. This is what life is like. But we also do a core year 2 module, employability skills, which helps you develop the skills that you need to get a job, whether it be through developing your CV, interview skills, assessment center skills, whatever. We have professional body accreditations, depending on the course that you're doing, CMI, Chartered Management Institute, AAT, for example, in accounting, and CIM for marketing. We do placements and work experience. We do site visits, as I've said, but we also have guest lectures, people coming in. Many organizations will give our students live briefs, in other words, an assessment that is based on a real life situation. You have simulations that you can do where you're up against a computer, but also in work, there's a university's own employability team who can help you find work. So who's done what and where from our courses? We've got an international freight forwarding manager, digital marketing manager who works for a Premier League team, graduate management trainees in IT, accountancy trainees, PR, global logistics, retail, senior management, banking, and so on. We have students in all areas doing all things, including postgraduate study in the future. They're looking to do that in the future. And also many of our students go into teaching and education. We do placements. You may be allowed to go on placements. So we have students who are out working for an organization. For example, here's a student at the rent-a-car business in Northampton. So she spent a year there learning about doing the job and learning how they operate. This is a student on the left. She was at a major construction site in London, doing a lot of work on environment and sustainability for a major contractor. as Gina has said, yeah, when you finish, you get to graduate in one of the best locations in the world. Fantastic building, and it is an absolutely fantastic day. People absolutely love it. So finally, that's it. That's it from me. Talk to us. If you've got any questions, you can ask them. And I will stop sharing my screen now. That's okay.
Thank you so much, Julian. Really great presentation. Lots of helpful information as well. So over to you, Amee.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, you can sit now.
Hang on. Okay, so. Okay. Hello everyone. Thank you for inviting for this presentation. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Amee Kim. I'm a course director for accounting and finance. I'm also a senior lecturer in accounting and finance. I'm currently a chief examiner at Chartered Institute for Securities and Investment. I'm also a track chair for corporate governance at British Academy of Management. So, for in this our section, our school provide three different accounting, finance, economics related programs. You could start with accounting and finance, or you can start with accounting, finance, and business management, or you could start with economics and finance. So, in our course, we provide 3 years, as Julian explained already. Each year, we have 2 semesters. So, 2 semesters, we provide 60 credit each semester, especially year 1 and year 2. You have an opportunity to take 15 or 30 outside the school in semester 1. If you become year 3, then you have got opportunity to have the dissertation as 40 credits. How we deliver our course, you have 6 hours of contact time per 30 credit modules per each week, and then you have access to virtual learning environment. During the lecture and seminar, we invite guest speakers which have industry experience or alumni from our graduate students. And then you have got one-to-one contact time with your academic tutor. And then you also have independent study. And then we also have the learning hub to improve your academic performance. Okay, how we can evaluate your own academic performance? You might have a case study analysis during the seminar or lecture, and then we also have a chance to test through computer-based assessment for your modules and essays, exams, or group project, or group presentation, or individual or group report. That is all about how we assess for your academic skills and performance. Okay. Well, in our section, we also organize Bloomberg terminals. The Bloomberg terminals is about the real-time the financial database. So how the London stock markets or other the global market working through all the financial data and financial statement. So this the Bloomberg terminal provide or the corporate finance valuation and any the particular core skills to improve to understand the financial markets. And then also you are able to take the particular training course through the Bloomberg market data. Once you complete the online Bloomberg market training, then you are able to get the additional certificate. Okay. We regularly organize the field trip for our students. So sometimes we bring students to Bank of England or the accounting or finance accreditation body in London headquarters. So you have a chance to see the other industry related fields during your study. Okay, our entry requirement. So from the A level, B Tech, or international. So grade should be BBC or DMM. or if you have got access, it should be 15 distinctions and 30 merits. For the international students, we need 29 points. Also, we have got the combination of a qualification to have 112 UCAS points. So destination of our graduate students so far, most of them they work in the finance or accounting related field, such as the Deloitte or and Young or the NHS or other PwC, which deal with the risk assurance or any internal auditors or in training accountant or tax analyst and the other kind of financial operation analysis and etc. So also during our course, we provide the couple of the exemption with other accounting professional bodies such as ACCA or ICAW and the CIMA. So through this module, a couple of paper has been exempted during our course. So I would like to talk about the further. So we have a total 8 exemption papers for the year 1, financial accounting, management accounting. When you get into year 2, you have got 3 exemption for your accounting finance related modules, such as corporate and business law, management accounting, or financial reporting. If you become year 3, then taxation, audit, and financial management for accountant, they're all about the exemption for your own modules during the 3 years. We also help our students to have industry experience. So that means that you can have a 1-year placement. So we provide employment skills through the module, and we also dedicated placement manager or supervisors to support you during the year placement period. So you have got 3 years for undergraduate study and plus 1 year paid work placement. So it's open to all our full-time business school students. So you can apply to the UCAS or transfer end of year first year. So we also provide internship opportunity as well. This is 4 weeks. Sometimes it's unpaid as well. During the summer period, you can gain industry skills and experience. Then we also support your work to find the proper internship placement or to apply for this internship position. Okay, so far the alumni showed quite a positive their own experience about CCC's quite practical approach to teaching to help their own job position and a great experience at CCC with a new challenge and that they can make quite a lifelong friends and to meet quite a good lecturers during their own degree. Yeah. And then we also support through the mentorship what students' health and well-being service, alumni, and the check-in hub, and the other learning skills hub and things. So this the community is going to be support you and help you to success for your academic journey with us. Okay, thank you for your time. This is my whole presentation. And then I'm going to hand over to organizer. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Amee. Richard, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Dagina. So hello, everyone. My name is Richard. I'm not Richard McManus, unfortunately. I'm Richard Venner. I'm an International Development Manager at Canterbury Christ Church University. Richard McManus, unfortunately, has been delayed in another meeting. So it's my pleasure to present part of his presentation, supported, of course, by my colleague Julian, and we'll give you an overview of 2 very, very fantastic postgraduate business programs, and then I'll speak a little bit about the careers support and guidance that we offer at Canterbury Christ Church University. Let me just talk through then the overall approach. So the business school international business programs are designed to prepare you to develop your career towards a management role. And they do this by enabling you to address complex problems that face organizations in today's dynamic international business environment. Now, I'm also really proud of the fact that in 2023, Canterbury Christ Church University was #1 in the UK for employability, so for helping our graduates to find a job. Obviously, we're very proud of this, and later on in this section of the webinar, I'll explain to you exactly how we achieved this #1 place and how we can support you in terms of finding you your dream job. Okay, so business courses, postgraduate business courses in the business school, MBA International and MSc International Business. What is the difference? So Julian, I don't know if you would like to take over at this point. Obviously, Richard has kindly highlighted lots of different modules that are studied during both of the courses, and he's highlighted the main differences between the two courses, MBA and MSc. Did you want to talk a little bit about those differences, Julian?
Yeah, I can do that
Thank you.
for you, Richard. So basically, you'll see the two courses are broadly similar because the areas in which they cover, both in terms of the MBA and the MSc, are obviously international business. So you're taking a far more strategic approach to business overall in both these areas, looking at the international environment and the way that it works. So it's going to be a fair degree of crossover between the two. However, the differences are that the MBA is a lot more focused on more like the markets and the general environment, whereas the MSc is a slightly more academic, sort of intensive from an academic perspective than the MBA. So the MBA is a little bit more practical. It's working with live organizations, so be undertaking something like market research, but working towards an independent study in the final trimester, where you be looking at a business plan in terms of setting up an organization and working in terms of working with a business in the future. The MSc International Business, you're looking, as I said, a far more academic approach, particularly in the dissertation. So taking a more objective, rational, academic approach to a problem, an issue, looking at it objectively and rationally to understand that problem, to give a very hands-off view of what that issue is. With the MBA, you're far more involved in the business, in the market, and so you won't necessarily have that same objectivity. You will have a very high degree of objectivity, but it won't be quite as dispassionate. So you're far more involved, hands-on with the MBA.
Thank you very much, Julian. Yeah, thank you very much, Julian. That's so interesting. So MBA, more practical. You've got the business plan as the final body of work at the end of the course, and MSc more academic, as you mentioned, with an academic dissertation there at the end.
Yeah, that's essentially it. So that's why the two are different. So they're going to appeal to students with different learning approaches, different learning types. So those who are taking a far more academic approach will be better suited to the MSc. Those with a more hands-on, actually perhaps even working in the industry already or with experience of working, may prefer the MBA.
That's really interesting, Julian, as well, that you mentioned approaches to learning and how students are going to learn. I think obviously because our audience today are an international audience coming from countries where they're probably used to a different style of learning. We've got here, Richard has outlined different ways that students are taught within the business school. So maybe you could just talk briefly on each of these, because I think they might be very interesting actually for our audience of students. So blended flipped learning. Can you explain what this concept is?
Blended and flipped learning is where, instead of us just standing up telling you, imparting knowledge in a one-way direction, blending and flipped learning is where we will expect you to undertake your own research, your own reading, and you bring that to the classroom, and then you can take part in a far more active discussion with your fellow students and with the teaching staff in the same way that you may well be discussing things in business in the future. Seminars and lectures, as I outlined before, seminars, smaller groups, far more engaged, a lot more interaction between you all on a particular subject that's being covered, whether it be HR or strategy or globalization, whatever. And lectures, far more formal, standing up, chalk and talk. Group work, as I say, an important element of working in business, that you'll be working with other people when you enter an industry. And many people think, well, I'll be self-employed, I'm going to work for myself. But they forget they're going to be working with their customers, with their suppliers, often with the general public, with institutions and governments and regulatory authorities. So you have to work with other people on different projects. So being in group work situations is very, very important. If you have workshops where you'll be taking a far more hands-on approach, covering areas in a far more practical way, working through issues, problems, case studies, and frequently making use of simulations. And then finally, you will have those one-to-one meetings with your supervisor, somebody who's there to help and support you when you're doing your dissertation and your business plan. These would be senior academics, but also academics who've got experience of business and of life, who can direct you and guide you on the best place and the best way to go. So that's sort of how it works.
Oh, thanks so much, Julian. The flipped learning idea is of particular interest, I'm sure. Do you find that your students sort of increase in confidence, having read, first of all, about the material that they're going to be looking at, and then arriving in classroom with that pre-reading?
Yeah, it pays off in many, many ways, because it does mean that you're hitting the ground running. So when you come into the room, you already know what you're going to talk about, and you have that background knowledge and that understanding. So you're not having to be retaught everything and have to learn it again. You know it, which means it's a lot easier to take part in discussions and come up with ideas and arguments. And as Rich, as you say, it gives you far more confidence to do that, which again will carry you through into the world of work in the future.
Oh, that's fantastic. I think as a learner, I would definitely prefer that sort of flipped learning style, actually. And like, final comment, obviously you mentioned group work and workshops, seminars. So obviously there's going to be a lot more collaborative learning, isn't there? Students are expected to share ideas, work in pairs and in groups. That might be something different from their previous educational experience, right?
Yeah, that's something that we do notice with international students, particularly, is that the learning styles in many other countries are a lot more rigid and inflexible, a lot more just, taking notes from what a lecturer says. We take that to a much higher level to try and reflect what you'll be doing in the commercial, the business environment, where you will be an active learner, actively taking part in it. We get students to come up with ideas in exactly the same way that you can be sitting in a board meeting, standing in a factory, working in an IT lab, or working on, in social media, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Where you'll be the one expected to come up with the ideas and come up with solutions, rather than just dependent on other people or on textbooks. And so that's an important aspect of learning, is learning to work with other people. But that's not to say that working independently is not important. That is just as important as well. But you do get that balance of the two. So there's a much higher level of engagement within learning in our business school than you may experience in other parts of the world.
Thank you so much, Julian. And Richard has also put on the right-hand side of the slide in the general entry requirements. So remembering, for postgraduate courses, we would look for a bachelor's degree, a minimum of 2.2. And in terms of English language, we can talk about English language in the question and answer part of the webinar. But as Richard said, it's a combined score in IELTS, for example, of 6, with no element below 5.5. Julian, thanks so much for your insights there in terms of how students are going to be taught, how they're going to learn. and also in terms of some of the modules as well that students will cover. I guess the last thing I can mention is 3 key words for you about Canterbury Christ Church. We have accessibility, we have affordability, and we have employability. So accessibility, because Canterbury is such a wonderful location in the southeast of England, in Kent, the Garden of England. We're under an hour from London on the train, and we're 20 minutes away from beautiful coastline as well, and lovely countryside. Affordability, because being outside of London, it makes Canterbury much more affordable than other destinations like London, both in terms of the cost of living and also our student accommodation as well, that starts from £120 per week. So very, very affordable. And finally, as Julian's mentioned and Amee has mentioned, and I've mentioned, that keyword employability. So in 2023, we were #1 in the UK for graduates in work. And really, we've embedded employability skills across all of our courses, across all of our curricula, and with that strong pastoral side as well, as Julian mentioned, we're a very, very supporting and very, very caring university. Okay, I'll stop sharing my screen and I'll pass back over to Dagina.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Richard. Really useful information. I guess before we jump into questions, just to reiterate, you can still submit applications for CCCU May intake. So for May intake, we offer 3 programs, including some of the postgraduate business programs like MBA and MSc International Business, and also Masters in Global Public Health. And GAS Gateway is also open for September 2025 intake applications as well. So please ensure you file your students' applications at the soonest. The application deadline for May intake has been slightly extended, but only by a few days. So please ensure you submit your applications by the end of this week, the very, very latest. And any missing documents also need to be submitted at the soonest. Consultations should be arranged with my team on the ground in case if not done so yet. And if you have already done all those steps and you've received unconditional offer letter, please ensure you book your precast interview with the university, arrange the deposit payment if already done so, and proceed with your CAS request so that your CAS can be issued in plenty of time. You can apply for your visa and you can arrive on time to the university for the inductions. All right, let's see if we have received any questions. Yes, we have. How many days would students need to attend classes a week for business programs? I guess it's a question for everyone.
For undergraduate, I'm not 100% sure the answer for the postgraduate programs. For the undergraduate programs, it will depend on your timetable and how the modules are timetable. But we usually expect students to be on campus for a minimum of 3 days per week. Sometimes it may be 2 days, depending on how the modules fall. Sometimes it may be 4 days. But it is a requirement that students should be available for study over the 5 days of the week between the hours of 9 o'clock and 7 o'clock. So in other words, if your timetable for sessions on any day between those hours, then you are expected to attend. But we are understanding of student situations, and we try as far as possible to make sure that students may only attend a maximum of 3 days per week. It's a lot harder. A lot of students say, can I only do 2 days a week because I have to travel? We will try, but we will not guarantee it, and we cannot do that if the timetable doesn't allow us to it. And we won't change the timetable to suit a particular student, because obviously then that messes it up for all the other students. But as I say, there is a requirement and an obligation, and it is part of your visa requirements to attend all the sessions as they are timetabled for you.
Right,
Okay.
thank you. I assume it's the same or similar for postgraduate, 3 days a week?
It's the same thing, the same requirement, same obligation, similar sort of times. but I think postgraduates operate over a 3-semester period rather than the 2-semester period, and they're only here for a year.
Great, thank you. Okay, do you have Masters by Research courses? Not yet, unfortunately, but if we do have those programs available, we would definitely notify you in future. And the same applies for doctorate in business administration as well. CCCBS doesn't offer these courses yet for international students, but if they decide to offer them, we will keep you posted. Study gap acceptable. So the good thing here, CCCU exercises flexibility in terms of accepting students with study gap. The main thing here is to obviously justify any study gap within your CV and also personal statement. General rule would normally be around 5 years for undergrad, up to 10 years for postgrad, but we did also have students accepted with a bit longer study gap, as long as it's well justified, as I mentioned, within your documents. So please submit application in case if you haven't done so yet, and our admissions would review that from GAS Gateway portal. If a student takes bachelor's business school with a placement year, or business school with internship, after completing this course, how many years students will get post-study work permit? Well, currently the post-study work permit, or a graduate route visa, as they call it, is available to all undergraduate and postgraduate students, so those who have successfully completed and graduated from a British university, and that is normally valid for 2 years. Whether you've taken placement, whether you haven't taken, it doesn't impact the duration of your graduate visa. So it's 2 years, which is amazing. But if you have taken a placement year, which is an additional sandwich year, so instead of 3 years bachelor's degree, you will study 4 years, but the third year is normally devoted to placement. So you don't study, but you're doing placement full time. Which English tests are acceptable? So we'll share website links also when we send up a follow-up email. But it's the main ones: IELTS, TOEFL, Pearson. Also, Oxford International is being accepted. So that's a great alternative in case if you would like to take your English test online. Please feel free to do so and just book Oxford International, and the results normally are available quite quickly as well. Also, depending where you're coming from, for example, if you are from India, some of the boards are being accepted as a proof of English as well, especially in southern part of India. So just double check with our team on the ground, or reach out to us, or check also CCCU website in case of any doubts, and we can go from there, or submit your student's application like we mentioned, and our admissions would review that. Initial deposit. So the deposit for master's programs is currently £5,000. So that hasn't changed from previous intakes, which is great. Tuition fee also hasn't changed. So there hasn't been an increase for 2025 intake, which is amazing news. So it's still £15,500. And obviously you minus international scholarship, which is 1,500, available to all international applicants. You don't need to submit any additional application for that, meaning that overall tuition fee would be £14,000. But for the CAS request, you normally need to pay 5,000, and the rest needs to be on your bank account for visa, and obviously for CAS purposes, and for visa, what percentage is required. Once you've received your visa, you can then pay outstanding fees. You can pay them in one go, which would, I guess, would make your life easier in a way. So outstanding £9,000 can be paid prior to enrollment, or if you wish to do so, you can go for installment plan. So you can split the outstanding 9K into 2 installments, so 4.5K prior to enrollment, and the remaining 4,500 prior to your next semester. Okay. Currently, the university does not accept MOI, unfortunately, but again, if there are any changes, of course, we'll keep you posted. No changes to the language test per se for September 2025, so it's all the same. The university is already issuing classes for May intake. We already have students who received visas even for May intake, which is amazing. So the sooner you submit your application, the sooner you provide outstanding documents, go through the interview, etc., the better. So you allow plenty of time for visa process and also to arrive to the university on time. And I believe it should also start issuing courses for September intake soon, in case if you obviously have all the documents ready. So it's 6 months prior to the start date of the course normally. Okay, question for you, Richard. How diverse is the student community at CCCU? And also does CCCU offer placements, internships as part of their degrees?
Yeah, it's a great question. A very, very diverse community. We've got students from over 100 different countries. One thing, Dagina, we haven't mentioned yet is like getting a part-time job as well. So as an international student, you can work up to 20 hours per week as a part-time job. And one really cool job is being an international student ambassador. So we've got international student ambassadors from all over the world, from so many different countries, and they will provide support to other international students. So a very, very diverse student community and very supportive as well. Julian, Amee, did you want to mention anything about placement options with undergraduate courses?
Yeah. We, as I say, we have the opportunity or the option of students undertaking a placement. I have to stress that we will not find the placement on your behalf. It is up to the student to find the placement and to do all the work to get it. The reason for that is that we don't have the resources to do that, which is sort of a more mundane reason, but principally, and the main reason why we don't do it, is because it's up to students to find the placement, to get ownership of it, and to make the investment in finding it. We found in the past that where we've arranged and set up placements for students, they don't engage anything like as much as if they found that placement. It's your placement, you're doing the year in industry, you need to find it and invest in it. And that's part of the whole process, the whole thinking behind the placement, which is it is your placement. It's not ours. You are doing the work. And it is a big commitment. You're taking a year out, but you can, in most cases, get paid for it. You get paid the salary commensurate with that job, depending on what industry it's in, depending on where it is. For example, salaries in London are much higher than they are in other parts of the UK, but then so is living accommodation, so is transport. So it's the swings and roundabouts with that. So it's absolutely worth doing. I had students yesterday who've been on placement whose confidence has just increased by 10 times what it was. I had one student talking to an audience of parents and potential students off the top of her head in front of a room for about 50 people. And she said in her first year, she'd never have done it. She would have refused point blank to do it. Now in her third year, having done a placement year, she can stand up in front of a room full of people and talk off the top of her head for 10 minutes without even thinking about it. And that translates into many other aspects of work and of her study, that confidence. So it is well worth doing, but it is a self-motivated exercise that students have to do.
That's really interesting, Julian, because also you raise a really important point there about students being proactive. And, you know, I think that's so important. I can't stress enough. I'm sure you'd agree that, especially for international students, but all students, being a proactive student is so important. And then you can find so many opportunities that are available to you by being proactive. Yeah, great. Dagina.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. It's really good to know. Are we accepting level 6 quality diploma for level 7 master's program? We would need to look into your individual cases. So please submit your application via GAS Gateway portal, and we will look into that from there. So if it's equivalent to bachelor's degree in the UK, then that could be considered. But if it's not, it might not be. But again, it's best to check on the individual case. Accommodation options for international students, Richard?
Yeah, so Canterbury, as I've mentioned, is it's quite a small city actually, so you can walk across Canterbury in about 30 minutes, and we've got many different accommodation options. Our student accommodation is all within easy walking distance of Augustine House, our library, and our main campus as well. And you can see behind me Verena Holmes, one of our fantastic new buildings. So yeah, the student accommodation, I can't recommend it enough. It's very, very affordable, safe, and the way, very, very briefly, the way student accommodation works in the UK, you'll have a room, you'll have a private bathroom, and you'll have a shared kitchen, which is a great opportunity for you to cook with other students, to make friends, and to interact. So yeah, I can't recommend it enough, Degina.
Amazing. It's really, really affordable if you compare it to big cities like London. It's yeah, I think for international students that saves a lot of money if you actually stay on the university accommodation. I know sometimes students might consider staying in London, which I guess sometimes is okay if you're a postgraduate student, if maybe you have relatives there or friends. But if you actually decide to live in Canterbury, it's much more affordable. And we have students who graduated from Canterbury still decided to actually stay in Canterbury. They secured full-time jobs there as well after graduation. So that's great success stories, I guess. Policy for changing agents. You would need to reach out to our team on the ground so we can look into your individual case. Normally we don't encourage changing agencies, but if it's exceptional case and if there are any issues that need to be considered, we can look into that. Thank you. Are you providing extended MBA or extended Masters in International Business? Richard, are these available this year?
I think they are, Degina, for MBA, yes.
Okay, great. But they normally, I remember from last year, they had the same requirements, right, as the actual MBA. So the main value that students receive from, going to extended option is to have that extra 3 months, I believe, to adapt to the UK, new environment, university, life, etc. But the requirements are still the same as for the main course.
Exactly right. Yeah, all about that soft landing into the UK. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Math requirement for undergraduate programs. For now, that still stays the same. Yes, so GCSE math requirement is still there, but the university is looking into that and also into the performance of previous applicants to see whether there could be any changes. But again, stay in touch with our team on the ground. They'll keep you posted on any changes to entry criteria. Language cert, no, unfortunately, that's not acceptable at present. But like I mentioned, Oxford International is a great alternative. MY is not acceptable. We already answered that. Okay, what are the placement fees for bachelor's or master's at CCCU? Or are they free of charge?
That's a fantastic question. I think Julian probably addressed that when he spoke about.
I'm not sure, to be perfectly honest, Richard, I'm not sure how it works with international students, but undergraduate domestic UK students, when they undertake the placement year, they pay a fee, a much greater reduced fee for that year, roughly 15 to 20% of the normal academic fee. And I imagine that for international students, it would be the same sort of proportion of the normal fee. But that's not a question I can answer with any degree of accuracy. But that's something that would be addressed as and when a student wishes to go on placement.
Thank you. Yep, thank you. Initial deposit. Okay, so initial deposit is £5,000 across most of programs. The only program that requires a full fee as a deposit is International Foundation. That's £14,000, so after the scholarship, and that's a standalone foundation. If you're going for integrated foundation, which is one joint course, foundation plus bachelor's degree, then you still pay £5,000 only for a cash deposit, so that's still a good offer there. And obviously you receive a 4 years visa instead of 3 years, so that's quite convenient. The university have currently it's only 1,500, but if you probably agree with me, the tuition fees at Canterbury is already quite competitive. So after scholarship, it's only £14,000 and the initial deposit's 5,000. So that's a great saving and great value. Initial deposit for undergrad the same, so £5,000 to secure your place, secure your cost letter as well. Okay, perfect, great timing. So I think we've reached the end of the questions. Thank you so much once again to Julian and Amee, and thank you, Richard, as well for this insightful webinar. Thank you, Sukani, as well for your help. Stay tuned for more webinars to come. We have them with CCCU team pretty much every week. And we will keep you posted on the next webinar to come. As I mentioned, please don't forget to submit your students' applications for May intake by the end of this week, the very, very latest, and also arrange outstanding documents, consultations, precast interviews, and everything else so that your students can meet the deadlines. And you can still keep obviously filing your students' applications via GAS Gateway for September 2025 and try to provide a full package of documents where possible, just so that we save time on initial assessment of your students' application. Thank you and have a great day. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.